Story 1, Attendance. I arrived late to class that morning, which might be the only reason I'm still alive. The hallway outside room 214 was silent, too silent for a Monday. No lockers slamming, no half-shouted conversations, no laughter bouncing off the walls. The fluorescent lights hummed like insects trapped in glass. I checked my phone. 8:03 a.m. Right on time. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. At first glance, everything looked normal. Same desks. Same posters peeling off the walls. Same chalkboard with yesterday's homework still half erased. My classmates sat in their usual seats, heads turned toward the front. But no one spoke. The teacher stood at the board, writing our names for attendance. Her arm moved stiffly, like it wasn't used to joints anymore. I slid into my seat, heart thudding. Something felt off, like the room was holding its breath. Then I noticed the faces. They were almost right. Almost human. Too smooth. Too still. Smiles frozen a fraction of a second too long. Eyes that didn't blink, didn't focus, didn't reflect the light correctly. Their bodies sat with perfect posture, hands folded neatly on desks, as if someone had carefully positioned them. I swallowed and looked at the girl beside me, Emma. Or something that looked like her. Her head turned slowly toward me. Not all at once. First the eyes. Then the neck. The movement made my stomach twist. She smiled wider than a mouth should. "You're late," she said. Her voice sounded like it came from the back of her throat, or somewhere deeper. The teacher stopped writing. Every head in the room turned toward me at the same time. I froze. "Take your seat," the teacher said without turning around. "We don't like disruptions." I was already seated, but I nodded anyway. The teacher continued attendance. Each name she called was followed by a response, but not a word. Instead, my classmates tilted their heads in unison. That was their present. My pulse hammered in my ears. I tried to breathe normally, to act like this was just another boring school day. Rule number 1, I realized, don't draw attention. The teacher reached the last name. Mine. She paused. The chalk hovered inches from the board. Then she turned around. Her eyes were wrong. Too dark. Too deep. Like holes punched through her face. "Are you present?" she asked. Every creature in the room leaned forward slightly. Waiting. I forced a smile and raised my hand. Present. The word tasted dangerous. The teacher stared at me for a long second too long, then slowly nodded and wrote my name. The tension in the room eased, but not by much. Class began. Math problems appeared on the board, written backward, as if meant to be read in a mirror. The creatures copied them down perfectly, pencils scratching in exact sync. When I tried to write, the numbers kept shifting, crawling like insects across the page. I pretended to understand. Rule number 2, don't question reality. Halfway through class, Emma leaned toward me. "You don't belong here," she whispered, lips never quite moving with the words. My hand clenched around my pencil. "What do you mean?" I whispered back before I could stop myself. Every pencil in the room stopped scratching. The creatures turned to face us. Emma's smile cracked, stretching unnaturally. "Careful. Questions lead to correction." The teacher's head snapped toward us. "Is there a problem?" she asked. My mind raced. Rule number 3 formed instantly, blend in or be fixed. "No," I said quickly. "Just helping her with the work." The teacher watched me. Her eyes narrowed. Then she smiled. "Very good," she said. "We value cooperation." The creatures resumed writing. Emma leaned back, her face smoothing out again. "That was close," she murmured. You're learning. Learning what? I whispered. How to survive, she replied. The bell rang. Too loud. Too sharp. Everyone stood at once. The creatures filed toward the door in perfect lines. I stayed seated, unsure what to do. Emma paused beside my desk. Lunch is the test, she said quietly. They'll watch how you eat. How you talk. How you react. What happens if I fail? I asked. Her eyes met mine, and for just a second, I saw something human behind them. You don't die, she said. You just stop being you. The hallway was worse. Creatures moved between classes, brushing past me, sniffing the air like animals pretending to be students. Whispers followed me. Wrong. Out of place. Still breathing. At lunch, I copied everyone else. I ate without tasting. I laughed when they laughed. I stayed silent when they did. Across the cafeteria, a boy stood up suddenly. He screamed. Not for long. The creatures turned toward him, heads tilting. They surrounded him, smiling kindly as they guided him out. The screaming stopped. No one reacted. I didn't either. Rule number 4, never show fear. The final bell rang at the end of the day. I walked out with the others, heart pounding, counting steps. At the door, Emma stopped. You can leave, she said. You followed the rules. I stepped outside. And stumbled back into noise. Cars. Voices. Sunlight. The normal world. I turned around. The school behind me looked ordinary. Too ordinary. The next morning, I came to class early. Everyone was human again. Laughing. Talking. Alive. Emma sat beside me, normal and tired looking. Rough Monday? She asked. I nodded slowly. Then I noticed something carved into the underside of my desk. 4 rules. And beneath them, a 5th one I didn't remember learning. They know where you come from now. Story 2, The Last Voicemail. I didn't notice the missed call until 3 days after my father died. That alone isn't strange. Funerals blur time. Sleep comes in fragments. Your phone becomes a graveyard of unread messages and condolences you don't know how to answer. What was strange was the timestamp. Voicemail received, 2:11 a.m. Sender, Dad. My father was pronounced dead at 9:42 p.m. At first, I assumed it was a glitch. Old phones do weird things when the service gets spotty. I stood in my childhood bedroom, surrounded by boxes we hadn't sorted yet, and stared at the screen longer than I want to admit. Then I pressed play. Static crackled for a few seconds. The sound was low, uneven, like the microphone was rubbing against fabric. I almost hung up, until I heard breathing. Not heavy breathing. Not labored. Controlled. Familiar. Hey, my father said softly. If you're listening to this, then something went wrong. My stomach tightened. This message isn't for now. It's for later. For when you come back to the house. I lowered myself onto the edge of the bed. My hands were shaking. I need you to listen carefully, he continued. Do not stay past midnight. And whatever you hear, don't answer it. The voicemail ended. No goodbye. No explanation. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I asked the hospital staff if my dad had access to his phone after he passed. They were polite. Sympathetic. Confident in their answer. No. I told myself grief was doing this. Brains look for patterns. Meaning. Closure. I packed the voicemail away in my mind like something fragile I'd deal with later. That was a mistake. 2 nights later, I was alone in the house, sorting through paperwork at the kitchen table. The air felt wrong, thick, stale, like the house hadn't breathed since he died. Around 11:30 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Voicemail received, unknown number. I didn't want to listen. I did anyway. More static. Longer this time. Then my father's voice returned, quieter. Strained. "You stayed too late," he whispered. "I told you not to." I stood up so fast the chair scraped loudly against the floor. From somewhere down the hallway, something scraped back. A slow drag, like bare skin against wood. "I can hear it moving now," my father said through the phone. "It knows you can hear." The hallway light flickered. I backed toward the front door, every instinct screaming at me to leave. My phone buzzed again before I could move. Voicemail received, Dad. Hands shaking, I pressed play. "It sounds like me," he said. "That's how it gets you. Don't answer. Don't respond. Don't even think about what it says." Behind me, from the dark hallway, my name was called. Perfectly. In my father's voice. "Sweetheart," it said. "Come here." The sound didn't come from the phone. It came from inside the house. I dropped the phone and ran. I didn't stop until I reached my car, slamming the door and locking it with shaking fingers. I sat there, engine running, watching the dark windows of the house. At exactly midnight, every light inside turned on at once. Then, one by one, they turned off, starting from the far bedroom, moving closer, until only the porch light remained. My phone buzzed one last time. Voicemail received, Dad. I didn't listen until morning. When I finally did, the message was short. Proud. Relieved. "You did good," my father said. I couldn't stop it. "But I could warn you." Then his voice dropped to a whisper. "It'll keep calling. Just remember. I'm the one who never asks you to come back." I sold the house a month later. Changed my number. Moved states. But sometimes, at exactly 2:11 a.m., my phone lights up on my nightstand. No caller ID. No voicemail. Just a vibration. Waiting for me to answer. Story 3. Alright, dim the lights. Put your phone down. And listen carefully. I never believed houses could listen until I stayed in one that answered back. I took the job because it paid cash and asked no questions. House sitting. 3 nights. Middle of nowhere. The owners said they were visiting family overseas and just wanted someone inside so the place didn't feel empty. That should have been my first red flag. The house sat at the end of a gravel road that didn't show up on GPS. Tall trees pressed in from every direction, their branches tangled together like they were trying to keep something in. No neighbors. No streetlights. Just wind and insects and the sound of my tires crunching stones. Inside, everything was too neat. Furniture untouched. Family photos perfectly straight. No dust. No clutter. Like no one had ever lived there, only arranged it to look like they had. There was a handwritten note on the kitchen counter. Please don't use the basement door. And if you hear footsteps upstairs, it's just the house settling. That didn't sit right with me. I checked every room before nightfall. 2 bedrooms. 1 bathroom. Attic locked. Basement door at the end of the hallway, painted white, no handle on the outside, only a keyhole. No basement key. That night, I slept on the couch with the TV on low. Around 2:17 a.m., the power flickered, just once. The TV went black. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Not creaking wood. Not settling beams. Bare footsteps, walking slowly across the ceiling. I held my breath and stared up, counting each step as it moved from one side of the house to the other. Whoever, or whatever, was up there paced like it was thinking. Then it stopped. Directly above me. I told myself it was animals. Old houses make noise. I almost believed it, until something whispered my name. Soft. Careful. Like it was testing how it sounded. I didn't sleep after that. The next morning, I found muddy footprints leading from the attic door to the bathroom mirror. They were barefoot. Facing the mirror. On the second night, I locked my bedroom door and pushed a chair under the handle. Around 3 a.m., I woke to the sound of breathing. Not mine. It was coming from the hallway, right outside the door. Slow. Controlled. Like someone trying to match my rhythm. Then the doorknob turned. Not violently. Gently. Back and forth. I didn't move. Didn't blink. After a full minute, the breathing stopped, and something slid under the door. A folded piece of paper. I waited until morning to open it. It said, "Please stop locking me out. This is my house." That's when I packed my things and tried to leave. The front door wouldn't open. Neither would the windows. My phone had no signal. No bars. No emergency calls. And from the basement door, I heard knocking. 3 slow knocks. A pause. Then 3 more. The house wasn't settling anymore. It was waiting. I don't know how long I was trapped there. Hours? Days? Time didn't work right inside those walls. But eventually, the knocking stopped, and the basement door unlocked itself. I never went down there. I just screamed until my voice gave out. When I woke up, I was lying on the gravel road outside the property. Morning sun. Birds chirping. The house behind me looked normal. Quiet. Empty. Police later told me no one had owned that property for over 30 years. The family in the photos? They disappeared without a trace. And sometimes, when I wake up at night, I hear footsteps above me. Even though I live alone. If you enjoyed this story and felt that slow, crawling fear settle in, make sure you don't ignore the sounds in your own house tonight. Because some homes never forget who stayed inside them. Story 4, The One Who Came Back. The first person to notice something was wrong with my wife was our dog. Mero had adored Elise since the day we brought him home, followed her from room to room, slept at her feet, waited by the door when she left. But the night she came back from her business trip, he wouldn't go near her. She walked through the front door at 11:43 p.m., suitcase rolling behind her, smiling the same tired smile she always wore after traveling. I remember the exact time because I just glanced at the microwave clock. "Hey," she said. "You still awake?" Her voice was right. Her face was right. She even smelled like her shampoo. Mero growled. Low. Deep. A warning sound I'd never heard from him before. "Elise?" I laughed nervously. "What did you do to the dog?" She froze for just a moment, barely noticeable, but long enough to make my stomach tighten. Then she knelt and held out her hand. "It's okay, boy." Mero barked and retreated down the hallway, nails scrambling on hardwood. Elise straightened slowly. "That's strange," she said. "He must be tired." I told myself that was all it was. That night, she slept perfectly still. No tossing. No breathing shifts. Just, motionless. I lay awake listening, counting the seconds between breaths until I realized I couldn't hear any. I didn't check. I wish I had. Over the next few days, little things stacked up. Elise stopped drinking coffee, though she'd never gone a morning without it. She stood too close when we talked, eyes locked onto mine without blinking. She laughed half a second late, like she was copying the sound instead of feeling it. And she asked questions Elise already knew the answers to. Do you still like your eggs scrambled or fried? Where did we meet again? What was your mother's name? I joked about it at first. You okay? Jet lag finally getting to you? She smiled. Too wide. Too careful. People forget things, she said. Don't they? On the fourth night, I woke up to her standing at the foot of the bed. Just standing. In the dark. Watching me. Her head tilted slightly, like she was studying how I slept. What are you doing? I whispered. I wanted to see how long it took you to wake up, she replied. Cold slid down my spine. The next morning, I went into the attic while she showered. I don't know why, I just felt pulled there. Like something was waiting. Behind old boxes and holiday decorations, I found Elisa's suitcase. The same one she'd rolled in 4 nights earlier. Still locked. Still dusty. Inside were clothes neatly folded. Unworn. And beneath them, her phone. I turned it on with shaking hands. The last video was recorded at 2:12 a.m., 3 days before she came home. Elisa's face filled the screen, pale and tear-streaked. If anyone finds this, she whispered, glancing off camera, it looks like me. It sounds like me. But it isn't. A noise echoed behind her, wet, dragging footsteps. I think it watches people until it knows them well enough, she said. Then it replaces them. Something moved in the darkness behind her. Her voice broke. If you're watching this, please, don't trust it. Don't let it. The video cut to black. I dropped the phone when the attic stairs creaked. Elise stood at the bottom, looking up at me. You weren't supposed to see that yet, she said calmly. I backed away. Where is she? Her smile softened, almost kind. I'm here, she said. I always was. Her face shifted. Not dramatically. Just enough. Like skin settling wrong over bone. Her eyes darkened, stretching deeper than sockets should allow. She let me learn, the creature continued. Loved ones make the best templates. What did you do to her? I whispered. She's still alive, it said. In a way. I kept the parts that mattered. It stepped closer. I can be better, it promised. I won't forget. I won't leave. I won't grow old. I ran. I don't remember getting into the car. I don't remember driving. I only remember stopping somewhere bright and crowded, shaking, clutching my phone like proof I wasn't crazy. When I finally looked up, Elise was sitting across from me. Normal. Human. Confused. She reached out slowly. What's wrong? You ran out of the house like you'd seen a ghost. I stared at her. At the tiny scar on her wrist. The way she chewed her lip when she was nervous. Say my mom's name, I said. She frowned. David, what is going on? Say it. Linda, she said immediately. I started crying. We never went back to the house. But sometimes, when my phone rings late at night, the caller ID shows Elise. And when I answer, there's only breathing on the line. Patient. Learning. Waiting for another chance to come home.